This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the town of North Haven.
Good morning. On this beautiful day, we're really excited about this morning. You could tell just by the crowd that it's going to be a very interesting topic. Certainly with Amazon getting ready to open up in the next few months, and of course we'll have our update from Mike Frieda as well on what's happening in town. So after a few years of anticipation, our newest addition, Amazon, will be, we have Richard Dice, the Director of Operations for the Fulfillment Center, who will be giving a presentation today. I'd like to just recognize a few folks in the audience before we get started. Our State Representative Dave Yaccarino is here. Unfortunately, our state senator, Len Fasano, was unable to make it. Our second selectman, Bill Piper, is here, and our third selectwoman, Sally Blamey, is here as well. Our chief of police and our fire chief, Chief of Police Tom McLaughlin, and our fire chief Paul Januszewski are here as well. And our Director of Public Works, Lynn Sadowski, and our Director of Library Services, Pat Laturza. I would also like to introduce my fellow commissioners on the North Haven Economic Development Commission. They're scattered among you. We have Walter Mann, our vice chair, is here. Rod Prasad, Frank Marr, Deb Moore, Bob Zambrano, Alan Sturts, and Steve Fontana. Just raise your hands, guys. And Deb. So I'm going to get the program started very quickly. As you know, we really try to run a program that gets you back to your businesses as quickly as possible. So I'm going to start by introducing Garrett Sheehan, the President and CEO of the Greater New Haven Chamber and the Quinnipiac Chamber, for an update on some important events and news that are going on in the chamber world. Garrett?
Thank you, Richard, and thank you to the Commission. First Selectman Mike Frieda, thank you for having the chambers here. I'm representing the Quinnipiac and Greater New Haven Chambers of Commerce. I'm not sure if Tom Curtin is in the audience. He's our current chair of the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. I know I saw Frank DiCristina of Allnex, who will be coming in as our chair this June. I also want to recognize the great staff that we have here. You know, Dee Nesty and Gary is out in the hallway or walking around getting new chamber members, I'm certain. Congratulations to Amazon. Richard, we're so glad to have you here in the Greater New Haven region. What I want to talk about this morning is some of the excitement that is going around economic development in our state right now. I've been in this job for about a year now. It's a very interesting job. It always takes me to new places that I'm fascinated by, different types of events. But this week has been extreme. We started off the week on Monday with Governor Lamont coming and speaking to both of our chambers. And we talked to him about the business issues that are affecting businesses that are being talked about at the legislature right now, because there are some things that definitely concern us. But one of the big takeaways we had was his commitment to the Greater New Haven region and how he sees this as such a driver for economic development and economic growth for our entire state. Fast forward to Tuesday, I'm involved in CEDIS, which is our economic development organization for the entire state. great. We had our new DCD chairman, David Lehman, there speaking with us. North Haven was in the room, Richard was there, and it was very refreshing. He took us behind the curtain, explained some of the plans that are in place for economic development in Connecticut going forward. He wants to involve the localities, and that's great news for places like North Haven that are already involved in economic development, but then having a state partner will enhance it. Yesterday, I sat in on the CERC board meeting. I'm a board member with CERC, and if you're not familiar with CERC, this is a statewide organization that is charged with recruiting companies to Connecticut. Bob Santee, the current president, is in the room today, so I'd like to welcome Bob. And what we've had from Governor Lamont and now DCD Commissioner Lehman is that we're going to have a new approach to economic development in Connecticut. And the governor is prepared to use CERC as a great outreach arm and recruitment arm for our state. And so in this room yesterday, in this boardroom, a very impressive group. We had Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of PepsiCo, Jim Smith, chairman of Webster Bank. We also had Jim Laurie, CEO of Black & Decker. There were others. It was just the firepower that was in this room that is now going out, working for Connecticut every day to attract new business. And I know North Haven is going to be a beneficiary of that because North Haven is doing economic development right. The last thing I'll tell you about my week was that I was with the City of New Haven on Tuesday accepting an award, City Spirit Award, because the Chamber is turning 225 years this year. It's quite an accomplishment. But as we talk about the anniversary of the Chamber, it's not really about the Chamber, it's about all of the businesses in our region. The Chamber is the organization for business. And the fact that we have had business in this region for so long that has been successful, there's a reason behind that. This is a great region to be in. This is a great place for business. And North Haven is definitely a great place for business. So Amazon, Richard, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Garrett. I would just like to introduce a few other folks before I introduce our sponsors. Garrett had mentioned Bob Santee from the Connecticut Economic Resource Center. We also have Ginny Kozlowski from Rex Development. She's here as well. And we are delighted to see that Mark Camille, the president of Albertus Magnus College, is also attending today. Thank you for coming. And sitting next to Mark is Lindy Gold. She is at the ECD. As we go along, if I've missed anybody, I'll certainly recognize you at some point. So now, without sponsors, these types of events cannot happen. And we're very fortunate to have a great sponsor who steps up every breakfast, both spring and fall, and that's Newtown Savings, and Mark Candido, who is the regional director and works out of the Hampden office. So Mark, if you could come up and say a few words as our sponsor, appreciate it.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. What a great crowd. My God, I got to believe that all of you would agree. It's probably the largest that I've seen in a long time. And you're always a fabulous draw, but this is incredible. We'll give a little credit toward Amazon, which is most exciting. But it's terrific. Newtown Savings Bank, I'm not going to give you the typical speech of how all of us bankers like to brag about their job, or I should say their bank in general. Bank per bank, we all offer the same services. We have, like every other bank in the state of Connecticut, every technological product that you could utilize, whether you're a consumer or a commercial business. The little difference that we have is, and I'm sure you won't hear this from a lot of banks, we still talk to people for loans from anywhere from $5,000 up to $10 or $15 million. My office in Hampden is responsible for the New Haven region, and that encompasses the commercial aspect of typically $500,000 to $10 or $12 million. But if you walk in the door, we will steer you to the right person. Newtown Savings, just to keep it short, is a 165-year-old mutual savings bank. We don't have shareholders shoulders to bow down to and worry about every penny that we earned every day and report it to somebody. It's 14 branches. If you're not familiar, I say that because I grew up in New Haven, lived in North Haven for years and years, and I'm surprised in terms of our acumen, like reading a newspaper and news, in that when I say Newtown Savings, and I always relate it to the massacre that unfortunately happened, people say, Newtown? Where's Newtown? Is that in Connecticut? It's like, I'm shocked that more people just aren't aware of Newtown and the rest of our state, especially in this day and age, the way we're always pumping economic development. Of which, I'll close my statement with saying we're a fabulous bank. We offer fabulous service. Rick DeMeo and myself are the team, along with Tony Rossley. Probably know all three of us. Rick lives in North Haven, so does Tony Rossley. I'll close it by saying we have a wonderful first selectman. It's always a thrill to be able to sponsor this with knowing that you're involved and you run it. Such a fabulous meeting. And Rich, you're just terrific. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I did notice Bill Villano is here from Workforce Alliance. He's playing Workforce Alliance is playing a very important role when it comes to the roll-up for Amazon, and they've been working together, I think, already for about 6 months to a year with Christine Reardon. 2 years, she's saying to me. So I'd like to recognize Chris and Bill as well. Now I'd like to introduce another sponsor that we have this year, and that's Roger Dietz, Roger, with RDS Media, which publishes the North Haven magazine. Roger, you could come up and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Roger Dietz. As he said, I own a small publishing company, RDS Media. We publish town magazines all about the hometown. We are in a number of towns around the state, but you would know us as the North Haven Magazine. RDS Media, like a lot of good things in life, was kind of born out of adversity. After 20 years in the corporate world, I, without warning, lost my job. At the time, a little up in years, not a real prospect to find work in my industry. It took me a little while to get that, but after several months of not getting work, I decided I needed to try to do something on my own, and I launched RDS Media. That was in 2011. In Southington, Connecticut. The concept was simple. We created a high-end coffee table style magazine, making a beautiful palette for local advertisers to show their wares, show their business, and get that magazine out to the local people in town. Advertising dollars supported the publication. The publication was free to the people in town, and lo and behold, it was a hit. The people in town loved the magazine. The businesses reported getting good response from their advertising, and we just kept it going. We went into Wallingford a few years later. It had equal response there. And in 2016 or 17, I think 2017, we launched the North Haven Magazine here in town. Anything you do, as all of you know, it's all about the people. And in North Haven, we were fortunate enough to join forces with Jill DiCello. She is a lover of North Haven and was perfect to take the helm as the editor of the North Haven Magazine. So she has been out and about. I imagine all of you have, many of you have met her, are doing business with her, and are showing your business in the North Haven Magazine. I hope it's working well for you. But I just want to say a few words about Jill, what she's done here in North Haven, because she's really taken our model and taken it to a new level. She really just takes everything that is hometown in North Haven and wants to improve it, and has done a number of events in town that the North Haven magazine will sponsor, but really she runs it, and she wants to raise money for local charities and local needs in town. One example is we've done a couple town treks. And a town trek was really modeled after the TV show The Great Race, where people get together and then they have to go out and run into different challenges and solve some puzzles. And we did that in town. Jill put it together. It was really just like right over my head when she was explaining how it was going to work, but I said, go ahead, do it, we'll sponsor it. And it was a great success. People paid $100 for a team of 4. There was all different businesses in town who were participating, and these teams were given a map, and off they go. They went off to the various places in town. Those businesses got new foot traffic, because all these people are coming in, wave after wave of team, to solve a puzzle in their local business. So people were entering these businesses who had never, some had never been in those businesses. Everyone had a good time, a lot of high energy, and I think we raised over $2,500 for a local food bank in town. So we've done like 6 of these now. They've all been tremendous success. I want to attribute Jill for all of her efforts. She's all about the hometown here. And I'd like to promote or publish the fact that we are going to, on May 4th, have a spring festival on the town green, and hope you all come down. It's going to be a tremendous event. There's going to be a lot of fun. There's a maypole that's been built or will be built. There'll be a maypole dance and some explanation about what that is. There's going to be a magician there. There's the high school jazz band is going to be playing. We have a professional hula hooper who I've seen her in action. It's just amazing that you can do that. And there'll be food and a lot of fun. So please come on down May 4th, put it on your calendar, and join us for the Spring Festival in town. So RDS Media, we're happy to be a sponsor here. I've been to a number of these. I'm always impressed at what is going on in North Haven economically. Mike Frieda is always fun to listen to, and I'll be looking forward to hearing what you have to say today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roger. Well, now what I'd like to do is just get right to the program. I'd like to invite Mike Frieda to come up, and he's going to introduce Richard, and enjoy the program. And I'll come back at the end of the program. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Richard. Thank you to our sponsors. And as I look across this great crowd this morning, I find myself very fortunate over the past 9.5 years to have developed such wonderful and solid relationships with many of the people in this room. The North Haven business community is critically important to the town of North Haven and to the region. For the past 3 years, you've heard me talk about the development of the Pratt & Whitney site and the emergence of Amazon here in North Haven. And I noticed something in the last couple of meetings as I began to speak about Amazon, that the heartbeats, the collective heartbeat of the North Haven business community and the North Haven citizens has been beating with rapid anticipation of today's event. We're soon to unveil this facility here in North Haven, a facility that will yield almost 1.2 million square feet of space. I have been so privileged and fortunate to be working with the people from Amazon, and I'd like to introduce 2 of our newest partners here whom we'll be working with. We had a wonderful dinner last night. I'd like to introduce Rachel Lightly. Would you stand up, please, first, Rachel? Rachel oversees all of the Amazon fulfillment centers up and down the East Coast. And we're very delighted to have you here, Rachel, and thank you for joining me for dinner last night. Now, our featured speaker today is another very impressive individual, Richard Dice. He will be the Director of Operations at our facility here in North Haven. So without further ado, you're going to hear a little bit more in detail about Amazon through a presentation that will be given by Richard. I'll come back afterwards and give everyone an update as to what's happening in North Haven, and then we will take questions and answers for both Amazon and myself. Without further ado, Mr. Richard Dice.
Morning. All right, I'm gonna try that again. Breakfast is served. I see the coffee flowing. All right, I need a ton of energy. It's early in the morning. Try it again. Good morning. Good morning. Excellent, excellent. Well, it is an absolute pleasure for me to be here today. Couldn't begin to tell you. On behalf of Amazon, it's very exciting for us to be expanding our presence in Connecticut in general. And I'll say it's personally very exciting for me to bring Amazon here to North Haven. Before we get started, I want to sort of give you a little bit of a background of myself. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Been with the company about 2.5 years now. Started my career actually as an engineer at Procter & Gamble. So I was a power and controls engineer in Albany, Georgia. Worked at a paper products facility. Spent about 4 or so years working on a variety of projects. Fantastic start to my career. Was a graduate Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering at Florida State University. Spent a fair amount of time working on some new product, but I decided to pursue my MBA, and that's actually what brought me here to Connecticut. So I attended the Yale School of Management, graduated. Post-MBA, I worked in aerospace. So ironically enough, I landed a job with Pratt & Whitney. So everything comes full circle. So this is actually some kind of special to me personally to be able to have a presence on the same facility that I've heard so much about during my 10 years at Pratt. So phenomenal opportunity. I'm personally excited though, however, to be bringing this here because I am a resident of Hamden. I have been a resident of Hamden for the last 15 years. So I'm personally excited to bring Amazon here and share all the goodness that it will entail. Continuing as far as my career, I spent 10 years, as I mentioned, at Pratt & Whitney, working in a variety of roles. I did from mergers and acquisitions, business development, operations management, supplier planning, capacity planning, a ton of fun activities that sort of spread my horizon and led to me being a better leader across the board. Then I got the call from Amazon. Naturally, I answered that call because you don't not answer a call when Amazon makes it. So I thought it was a fantastic opportunity a few years ago to do something that I hadn't done previously. Very interesting time to be a part of a company that's such high growth. And I saw it as an opportunity to take a step back and say, years from now, we'll be looking at Amazon saying, wow, what was it like to be a part of that type of growth? And for me to see that on the inside is a tremendous opportunity, and I jumped at it. So, like I said, started with the company in 2016, and I worked in New Jersey, did some training for a period of time, and then I prepared for the launch of the Windsor facility. And we'll talk about the fulfillment center in Windsor. So I launched that building in July of 2017, led that building through 2 peak seasons, and then I'm proud to say that we did a fantastic job there in Windsor. The month of December, this last year, our last month of our peak season, that building was the #1 building across the entire Amazon network of like building types in terms of overall productivity. So we're very proud of that. Fantastic job there by the leadership team. I recently transitioned out of that role to prepare full-time to launch this building here in North Haven. So as I mentioned, this is personally special for me. I've been in this environment, been in this area for the last 15 years. Very embedded in the community. I spend a lot of time and money down on Universal Drive, so if anybody's representing businesses there, I do spend a lot, especially the Chick-fil-A. You cannot drive by and buy something from that place. I can't help it. But nonetheless, very excited to be here. So I'm gonna walk through a few slides and share with you what we're going to talk about. So the objective today is for me to spend some time just giving you a company overview. A lot of folks may not necessarily be aware of what it all entails, what's behind the walls at Amazon, so I'm going to share a little bit of that for you. Talk about in detail about the fulfillment process, what that all entails. Then talk a little bit about innovation and how it fuels the growth at Amazon. And then I'm going to switch and specifically talk about Amazon here in Connecticut and the footprint that we've had and the growth that's continuing to take place. All right, so with that said, by a show of hands, is anybody here in the room not heard of Amazon? Anybody? All right, good. This is a fantastic start. Excellent. All right, by a show of hands, how many folks have made a purchase on Amazon? All right, good. I was going to ask who has not, but I figured I'd give you guys an opportunity to make some exercise. All right, by a show of hands, who's made a purchase on Amazon in the last week? Excellent. Excellent. By a show of hands, how many individuals here in this room have gotten used to or accustomed to or expect free 2-day shipping? All right, fantastic. I appreciate you being Amazon Prime customers and members. I appreciate that. And then lastly, by a show of hands, how many of you know someone who works at Amazon? That's a trick question. All right, so consider yourself, you guys know me, so let's raise our hands for that one. Fantastic. All right. With that being said, a lot of people actually think that Amazon has been around for quite some time. Why? Because we've gotten used to and accustomed to the convenience that this company has to offer. But in actuality, this year, Amazon will be celebrating its 25th birthday. So it is pretty incredible that a company the size, the magnitude, the reach is only 25 years old, and the growth that it's had over the last 25 years is pretty incredible. So this company started in Jeff Bezos' garage in Washington State, and since then Amazon.com has expanded across 19 countries and employs more than 600,000 people in general, in total. And our goal is to be Earth's most customer-centric company where people can find and discover anything they want to buy online. Now, we have 14 leadership principles at Amazon, one of which is customer obsession. I'm going to share a little bit about that. What does that mean? So customer obsession means we start with the customer and we work backwards. Everything is completely focused on the customer themselves, and we work backwards to try to figure out how to meet their needs ultimately. So at the end of the day, for our customers, we deliver price, selection, and convenience. And I'm working very hard to stand still because I shouldn't move because of the mics. But so we deliver for our customers price, selection, and convenience. And so we truly believe if we offer a great customer experience, then that fuels traffic to our website or our app, which in turn provides sellers, which in turn increases the selection, and that enhances the customer experience, but it also allows us to have or offer a lower cost structure or have a lower cost structure, which allows us to lower our prices, which also drives our customer experience. So this is sort of the fuel behind what we're all about at Amazon. I want everybody to walk away from here very clear that at the end of the day, it's all about the customer. I'm going to provide an overview of what this Amazon network looks like in terms of delivering for our customer and the presence that we've had here in the state of Connecticut. And I'll explain that a little bit so you guys have a better understanding. So, product. So we offer. Any vendor out there, let's use one, let's just randomly, Apple for example. If you have an iPhone, a vendor, Apple, will send that item to one of two locations. They'll send it directly to our fulfillment center, but 90% of the time or so, roughly, they send it to what's called a cross-dock, which is on your left. That cross-dock sole purpose is to collect those items from across all vendors across the board, aggregate them, and then redistribute across the Amazon network. For all the buildings across the network, we redistribute and we strategically place product by location or by anticipated demand. So that's the cross-dock. From the cross-dock, the product will then go to fulfillment centers. So Fulfillment Center is what I'll talk about in a lot more detail. Fulfillment Center, we have one in Connecticut here in Windsor, which is what I mentioned. We launched that building in July of 2017. Another Fulfillment Center right across the street here in North Haven. We're excited to launch that here the summer of 2019. And the purpose, what happens at the Fulfillment Center, those items arrive from the cross dock. We have associates who receive them from the trailers, load them onto lines. We ultimately stow those items, which means we place them in our inventory. When you place an order for that iPhone, sends a signal down to the floor, and then we have associates who are responsible for picking, packing, and shipping those items out. So once the item leaves the Fulfillment Center in a trailer, they then go to what's called a sort center, a sortation center. Sortation center is what we have in Wallingford. So it leaves the Fulfillment Center, it travels to the sortation center, and at that particular point, it sort of aggregates it by geographic location. That's what takes place at the sortation center. So it sort of breaks it down by zones, makes it easier. Then ultimately it goes to what's called a delivery center. We have one in Bristol that opened this past year. Goes to a delivery center, and then that's where we execute what we call our last mile. The last mile is where we have local contractors for delivery. They send the products up, they go pick the products up and deliver them, the packages, to your homes and to your businesses. So that's sort of the lay of the land and what it entails as far as the order being placed or being received from a vendor all the way to the point where it gets to your home or business. So that's the overall flow. And again, the presence that we have in Connecticut, Windsor facility, North Haven facility soon to open, sortation center in Wallingford, and then the delivery center in Bristol. And we will continue to grow in the state of Connecticut. We're happy to be here as partners, and we're happy to be a part of the growth in the state of Connecticut and the economic growth that's taking place here as well. All right. One of the areas that we're really proud of, and I think that fuels our growth here at Amazon, is really the innovation. It's all based on innovation in general. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the evolution of a fulfillment center and our network in general. Now, what we had in the past is a fulfillment center, probably similar size to what you've seen there, but minus robotics. And what you had is rows upon rows across about 1 million square foot facility of inventory shelving locations where when the items come in, like I mentioned previously, that associate would be responsible for stowing the item, walking to that location, an empty bin, an empty location, stowing the item and placing it, walking around to the next location. So there was a lot of foot traffic going on back in the past. Years ago, we introduced robotics into Amazon. I'm very excited about that. And that's a part of the innovation that's continued to fuel the efficiency and the workflow from our processes. Now, what we say is that the technology actually enhances the experience of the associate, and it actually allows us to offer a more efficient means by which to satisfy our customer. So we work alongside the robotics to give a better experience in general. So what we now have is, instead of individuals walking to the product, we have those individuals, they remain stationary, and the product comes to them. And behind the scenes, we're able to fine-tune and develop algorithms that make it more and more efficient and optimize the flow of our work. So it allows, at the end of the day, when you click place that order on the app, it's almost more guaranteed to ensure that we get it to you at a high quality and a lower cost in general. So we work alongside technology to ensure that we have the best opportunity to provide for our customers. What you're seeing here on the picture on the lower right side, the orange item, the orange device underneath the pods, those are called drives. Those are robotics, and you see that a little bit here shortly. We also have robotics, the middle picture, we have robotic arms that are responsible for stacking totes, stacking pallets, things along those lines, to be able to take away the mundane tasks and free up our associates to go add incremental value to the business elsewhere. So we're very excited about that, and our philosophy is truly that a better technology equals a better customer experience. What you're seeing here, these yellow bins. We call them pods, and that's where we store our inventory. So when, for example, you place an order for, or a vendor sends an iPhone or a basketball or a soccer ball or something along those lines, we store them in these, what we call pods, these yellow units here. Now, we utilize what's called random stow, meaning that iPhone can be next to a baseball, it could be next to a t-shirt, it could be next to anything, right? A book, it doesn't matter. It's random stow. Each one of those bin locations has a barcode. We scan the item, we scan the barcode. At the point in which we scan the pod itself, at that point it becomes visible and available to you as a purchasing public on the website in terms of inventory. When you place the order for that item, it sends a signal, as I mentioned previously, down to a picker. That item, the drive, the robots will take the items back, take the pods back until the item is required. So you place the order on the app, the drive will go bring that item back and then bring it in front of a picker. That individual will pick the item and then it sends it over to our packing department and we will go ahead and pack it and then prep it to be shipped. From beginning to end, at best, at this particular point in time, at the point in which you click place my order to the point at which it leaves the facility can be roughly 30 minutes if we need it to be. We can get that done in a very short period of time. That's how optimized we have this process here at Amazon. And so we're built for speed, and that's some of the things that we're really proud of, and technology fuels that. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about jobs. I'm going to shift focuses a little bit and give you some insight into what it truly means. So yes, everybody is a customer. You guys benefit from it. We all do. But I'm going to talk a little bit about behind the scenes, what that looks like and what it means to us. So Amazon was recently named LinkedIn's #1 most desirable workplace in the country. This is something that I'm personally proud of. I feel as though we have a part to play in this at the fulfillment centers. We employ over 1,500 individuals at the fulfillment centers in Windsor, and this is something that we take very seriously. There's no way that we can fulfill our customers' needs if we're not fulfilling the needs of our internal customers, which are our employees. So we take a lot of pride in what we have to offer within the four walls of the building, and we do as good of a job as we possibly can to ensure that they're also having a great experience at work. So in terms of jobs, it covers a wide range. I'll talk about some of the things. We talked about stowing, picking, packing, shipping, things along those lines. We also have a lot of support functions. IT, HR, procurement. So we have a lot of different areas where individuals can grow in their careers and actually learn and have the opportunity to bounce around and do a variety of things. And we promote that type of an atmosphere where individuals are able to really dabble in different areas that they weren't previously exposed to and get the opportunity to actually grow their careers. But the thing here that I want you guys to take away from this is what we do in terms of pay and benefits. So Amazon provides industry-leading pay. I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but in November of 2018, we announced the Amazon minimum wage, which is at a minimum across the board domestically at any fulfillment center. The minimum wage, starting wage is $15 an hour. That's across the board. We have a lot of associates who make a lot more than that because it grows from that point on. It's baked in a tier step-up increase program as well. That, I will tell you, is something that I'm most proud of, and having the opportunity to communicate that to the masses in the building in Windsor was one of my most proud moments in my career primarily because of the impact that I know it made on those individuals and ultimately the impact that it made on the community. It changed lives. It absolutely changed lives, and it gave individuals a greater sense of pride to work with the company, and quite frankly, it's something that we did as a business to step out and lead from the front and ensure that other individuals step up as well. So we're very proud of that at Amazon from a pay standpoint. Benefits. Benefits are something that we're also extremely proud of, and we get full benefits from day one. There's no waiting period. On day one, you get full health, dental, vision. You get 401k with a 50% match. So tremendous upside from an associate standpoint or any employee who works for the company, and we're very, very proud of this. This is something that I tout a lot. We have a lot of folks who left high school, and the one thing that I make it a point to communicate is the 401k. And I explain to them the value of having a 401k and what it means from a total compensation standpoint. So we offer a lot more than just a job. is the punchline to this particular slide that I want you guys to walk away from. And we are absolutely committed to the individuals who work for us because they are the engine behind what makes us successful as a company. A few areas of development that I wanted to talk through here inside the building and what it means to our employees. We have a few things that are focused on. Career Skills is one. Career Skills is an opportunity for, it's free on-site career training, really for lifelong success, as it states here on the slide. And what we look to do, this is where myself and my leadership team, we personally lead sessions, and we do things like interviewing skills, resume writing, teamwork, a variety of things, just really solid career skills that a lot of individuals wouldn't necessarily have had the opportunity to do. And we personally lead that. It allows us the opportunity to expose individuals to things that they weren't previously exposed to, and also give them an opportunity to have access to us as leaders of the building to help grow their careers. Fantastic opportunity. We've had quite a number of associates take full advantage of that. Career Choice is another one that we talk about and we're quite proud of, to be honest with you. Career Choice is a prepaid education program where we pay up to 95% of tuition for certain certificate programs. And it could be anything. It could be CDL license, it could be in the healthcare industry, a variety of things. This is what I'm also very proud of because I've shook many individuals' hands who have left the company to go on to do bigger and better things. And that's our objective. At the end of the day, we realize that this isn't necessarily a job that individuals will have for an extended period of time, but my personal objective is that once you leave this building, you will do so in a better position for success than when you arrived. Not only from the skill set that you've learned in terms of the job that you did for however long you were there, but the opportunities that you've had to market yourself even further beyond what you had at that particular point in time. So we're really proud of this program. It's one that I continue to push across the entire board, and it's something that we're very committed to for our associates across the board. And lastly, I'll talk about career advancement opportunities. This is a personal passion of mine. I, at least at my facility, am very proud of the organic growth strategy that we've executed over time. So here's an opportunity where we have a broad range of individuals working with us, right? We have individuals coming fresh out of high school. We have people who are retired, looking for, just something to keep them busy. And the opportunities are endless. You can progress. We've had quite a few individuals take full advantage of the opportunity to, as I mentioned before, get breadth in terms of experience, but also get the opportunity to promote all the way through. Great success stories exist across Amazon where we've had individuals who are now several levels above me at the vice president level who started out as seasonal associates, temporary associates to fulfill a seasonal need at a particular building, and they have evolved their careers to be executives of the company. That's the type of company that we're dealing with here. And I like to have a microcosm of that within our facility where we offer similar opportunities for individuals to grow their careers. We have a track record in the Windsor building of promoting individuals from the hourly ranks all the way through management. We have upwards of 20 or so individuals that we've promoted since we launched that building in 2017. Something I'm very proud of because it gives folks an opportunity to grow outside of a normal career path. So the only minimum requirement is a 4-year degree or 2 years with the company. So we've had high school graduates who've worked with us for 2 years who have now been promoted because of their hard work and dedication to the management ranks. And they continue to grow. So very proud of that. That's something that's not widely known across the board, but it's something that we're very passionate about at Amazon. So our presence and our footprint in Connecticut, just want to talk a little bit about this and share some numbers as far as what it all entails. So we have more than 1,500 jobs, full-time jobs, in the state of Connecticut. We have, as I mentioned, the Fulfillment Center in Windsor, which launched or relaunched in July of 2017. For individuals who require flexibility from a work standpoint, we do offer part-time positions. So the sortation center in Wallingford, as I mentioned earlier, actually has about 1,000 part-time jobs that are out of that building as well. We have the delivery station in Bristol that I mentioned, the fulfillment center, of course, across the street that will open here in the summer of 2019. That's scheduled to bring at a minimum 1,800 jobs to this facility, potentially more. We also have, as you know, Amazon acquired Whole Foods, so we have 9 Whole Foods market store locations across the state, and we have 1 Amazon Air Hub at Bradley International. A little bit more about Amazon in Connecticut. Investment from 2014 to 16, invested more than $500 million in terms of infrastructure, buildings, and overall compensation to thousands of employees across the state. So significant investment from a company standpoint to the state. Amazon's investment in Connecticut contributed an additional $200 million to the state's economy throughout those years as well. We all know that when large companies come into play, it has a ripple effect. And the community, the environment will be a beneficiary of that, and we're proud to be able to have that ripple effect offered across economies in the state. In addition, it's stated that we've been responsible for creating about 200 or so indirect jobs across the board. So there's a ton of goodness happening when we have a presence in a particular locale, and we're proud to be a part of this community here, not only in Connecticut, but specifically here in North Haven. Just want to highlight very quickly something that's not widely thought about or considered is fulfillment by Amazon. Anybody heard of fulfillment by Amazon? One person, Rachel, thank you. Fulfillment by Amazon is actually, it's an opportunity for small and medium-sized businesses to actually utilize and leverage our Amazon structure for fulfillment to conduct their business. So we actually support a lot of small businesses across the globe, and we allow them to reach customers far beyond what they normally would. So it's a tremendous opportunity that's quite often discounted or not quite recognized at that particular point, but the economic benefit for Amazon extends in this area as well. So across the state of Connecticut, there are 24,000 authors, sellers, developers who are reaching new customers on different platforms based on Amazon's products and services. So again, that's a little known impact that we've had across the board in terms of economic improvement. So that's something I just wanted to highlight there, because a lot of people, as is clear in this room, that we weren't aware of that opportunity as well. So I'm going to transition to something that's a personal passion of mine as well. Talked a little bit about what we do inside the building and the impact that we have for our customers and our overall focus, but I want to transition here slightly and talk about what we will do outside of the building within the community itself. There is a huge opportunity for a company the size of Amazon to be a presence in the community. It is not our objective to just be a building at 409 Washington Avenue. We would like to be embedded, we'd like to be integrated, and we'd like to be a part of this community. The biggest asset that we have in this building is the fact that we will have thousands of employees. And those employees equate to hours. And those hours equate to opportunities for volunteerism and ways to make an impact on the community. So I'm very much looking forward to being a part of the community along those lines and engaging in a variety of different ways based on the things that we are passionate about. A few areas that we're passionate about, STEM education advancement. It's one area. Obviously, we believe in technology. We talked about innovation earlier, and it's one that we'd like to promote future innovators and show them what real-life application of technology looks like in hopes that they'll be inspired to then create tomorrow's technology to help advance not only our company, but society in general and business. We also do work on childhood hunger and support for veterans as well. So a lot of different things there that we can have donation, both in kind and monetary. But volunteerism is a thing that we're really focusing on inside the building, and we look forward to being a part of the community and really being a good partner with the North Haven and Greater New Haven area. So this, a few pictures here from events that we've done at the Windsor facility during my tenure. We've had hundreds of thousands of dollars donated or donations in both monetary and in-kind donation across Connecticut. Examples being Connecticut Food Bank. We did a pediatric cancer event with the Connecticut Children's Medical Center in Hartford, which was a special moment for me. We partnered with a variety of elementary schools for either reading events or donations to their STEM program. We hosted robotics competitions, so a variety of things that take place across the board that we're really proud of, bringing folks, the ability to bring folks in, show them something different, especially when it comes to children, give them an opportunity to see something, inspire them potentially, and then again, be good stewards in the community. Always laugh at this lower right-hand picture. We did a robotics competition with students, and despite the way this picture looks, I guarantee you they were having a good time. I guarantee you they were having a good time. But I laugh every time because I look like I'm boring them to death. This kid in the front, arms folded, typical teenage stance, but I promise you they were having a good time, so worry not. But just in summary here, as I mentioned, I am the point of contact for community engagement across the entire network, so my hope is to be able to pilot a lot of things here at the North Haven facility and then use it as a platform to replicate across the entire Amazon network. So I look forward to trying out new things, determining what our opportunities are here as a company. I also look forward to, in general, partnering with a lot of you guys. I realize that this building being here is a benefit, obviously, to the community, but there'll be a ripple effect, as we mentioned. I look forward to being able to leverage that and show you what the opportunities are based on what we've learned in our experience at Windsor facility and bring it here to North Haven as well, but the objective being to scale that at a larger level. The end.
I think you'll agree that Richard is an outstanding leader, and he'll be leading this facility, working with us here in town. There's so many benefits, and Richard illustrated many of them. As you can see, they want to be part of the very fabric of our business community and the very fabric of our residential community. So thank you very much, Richard and Rachel. Let's give them a round of applause. So I'm going to ask our Police Chief, Tom McLaughlin, and our Deputy Chief, Kevin Glenn, and our Fire Chief, Paul Janiszewski, to start mobilizing. We're going to ask everyone to step on the bus that's going to be outside here, and I'm going to be taking you on a tour of what we're doing in North Haven all across the town with some of the projects we're working on. And I promise, Chief, I'll drive this bus in a very efficient fashion. So let's take a look as we board this bus on the successes we've had, the opportunities that still exist, and the challenges that we're currently faced with. From a success standpoint, in addition to what we've heard and what you've heard down through the years coming on Amazon, this medical center, as we come off the Route 40 connector, and right before us we see this Devine and State Street Medical Epicenter. For the past 7 years, this has been being built out. Most recently, over on 2 Devine, IT has moved out. We've worked with the hospital to incorporate musculoskeletal services that are going to be on the top floor as that building is being slightly renovated. Over on State Street, that urgent care center has now become not only an urgent care center, but a primary care center for physicians. So we are now virtually completed on this medical epicenter that we brought to the town and started in the town in 2011. And there we see some of the side views. That final component of adding primary care doctors to the urgent care center really gives us a wide array of services there, including the implementation of the Smilow Cancer Center that exists there also. As we move down into the State Street area, I wanted to report an update on this facility. 10 years ago, as we stood here, this building was vacant. Now there's almost 400 jobs here, and Fulfillment Works has really done an outstanding job here. These three businesses have really established themselves here in North Haven, not only in terms of populating 397,000 square feet, but also doing business with a lot of other businesses in the greater New Haven and the northern region area. So that ripple effect that Richard spoke about exists from this building here. I'm very excited about this project. This was a building that was vacant for decades. At 341 State Street, we worked with the property owner. We introduced him to this client, 12% Brewery. This will be a specialty beer brewery manufacturer here in North Haven. There'll be a little taste center there for people to come in, but this will occupy this building that's been vacant for decades. I mentioned this at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast back in February. This is starting to really move forward now. Over at 33 Styles, sometimes in economic development, companies leave, and then it's very important that we have to have a plan in place to bring new businesses in. I've mentioned this before, specifically back in February here, that BYK represents exactly what we need more of in Connecticut, and that is a business that's expanding. This business is very successful in Wallingford. It has moved into 138,000 square feet on 33 Styles, and it's always nice to see companies grow here in Connecticut and specifically in this region. Over on Republic Drive, I had mentioned this before, but this is another example of that ripple effect that Richard was talking about. The Alternative Dental Group, we brought this in from another area. Over 30 jobs here, specialty services providing crowns, implants for people who need to have some oral surgery. But the beauty part about this is part of the ripple effect. Now this company is working with various dentists in the region to help supply them, and the connections have been made to perpetuate that wonderful ripple effect. This I've mentioned a couple of different times. This happened about a year and a half ago, but this continues to build out. There's more jobs in there servicing what we think is a great need. It's a wholesale distribution facility on medical equipment that supplies a lot of different companies and a lot of different businesses in the region. This was announced at the same time. This has grown also, providing services to not only businesses but residents in North Haven. This came into play very nicely with 297 State Street. The fact that it was so close, there's some synergies that have existed there to help that company. This is soon to be the home of Sunbelt Rentals on 250 Saca Point Road. This was an example of a company moving out. We worked to bring a new company in, working with some of the people in this room. And Lou Proto's here, a good example of someone who we work closely with to bring some economic development in, among many others here. And this company that was here, we're relocating them to another part of North Haven. So it's a net gain of one incremental business. On Universal Drive, in these plazas, what we're seeing is a lot of change in the plazas. The age of retail has not been as vibrant as it has been in past years. So we're seeing now a lot of medical services, and these companies coming in, populating some of these plazas, and this is something that we cut the ribbon a few weeks ago with the Chamber of Commerce. Now, this is something that even surprised me, the popularity of these European wax centers. So this is now moving in over on Universal Drive also, and it's been very successful so far. This is a company I've talked about twice in the past year. This is a company that continues to grow and expand in North Haven. And most recently, we've worked with their contractor to help them, from a clean energy standpoint, work to put solar panels on this building. A wonderful manufacturer, and this is an example of bringing in one of their divisions from Massachusetts. I mentioned that the last time, and that company, Carlin Combustion, is doing outstandingly well here. This continues to evolve. 200 Elm Street, diagonally across from the North Haven High School. Half of this was vacant a year and a half ago. 3 new companies there doing very, very well. We're pleased that despite what happened with the storms and tornado, where Amici Tavern was highly damaged, we're pleased that they now have reopened on Broadway. And this has been a wonderful addition down on Broadway, diagonally across from Lou Dow's. 2 Montewiese Avenue, this is another example. We brought this in about a year ago. This is a company, Sherwin-Williams, coming back to, again, the ripple effect, that one of the biggest customers of BYK, the company that I just mentioned on Stiles Avenue, one of their biggest customers is Sherwin-Williams. And the emergence of this retail outlet here, plus the emergence of BYK here, is another example of those corporate and business synergies. I am very delighted and pleased, and Eric Picars, is he here? Eric? There he is, right here. Eric is going to be the new director of the Landing of North Haven. Let's give him a round of applause here. For 9 years, ladies and gentlemen, after the demise of Clintonville Manor, we tried to find a solution. We thought we had one with another company. That didn't materialize. And the Landing of North Haven is going to be the name of this assisted living facility. This will be over 100 units. It will have an assisted living facility for senior citizens. There will be many amenities within the facility, and it will also have a memory care wing where people who are aging out and need those kind of services can move to another area within the facility. And I've been working with Michael Juneau. Eric, we spoke. We've been working together, and there's going to be new jobs created there, and we're very excited. So, Eric, thank you for being here today, and perhaps we can speak later to really move forward with that plan. This is something I mentioned at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and I'm delighted about this because the Gargano Dentistry organization moved into this building on Broadway, right around the corner from Broadway, and maintained the historic charm of that building. So I give them a lot of credit for a company that's growing in North Haven. Revolution Fitness is a new addition. Believe it or not, folks, I may have mentioned this before, but these fitness centers like to be in shopping centers where there's grocery stores. So this is a great deal of square footage that has been populated with still an opportunity on the northern side of that there. Now, Valerie tells me that the women really like back on the rack consignment in the Stop and Shop Plaza, so I'm delighted to hear that. Another example is sort of some of the changes on the retail side, but it's been very popular here in North Haven. This is a company that we brought in from Cheshire. It expanded from Cheshire. We have other expansion opportunities with Bagelicious. One of them, hopefully soon, will be a drive-through on the northern side of that building. As we continue to ride along now, across the street, if you look to your right, where the Bagelicious is on our left, we see 84 Washington Avenue. This building has been owned by Edible Arrangements. They're doing the renovation, and there'll be a new financial services company going into this new building once it's built. You know, one of the great success stories in the past couple of years has been the emergence and the rehabilitation of the North Haven Shopping Center. And this is another example of how plazas today are changing the complexion and nature of the businesses going in there. We were unable to get an anchor retailer in there. We had a couple of opportunities. However, what we saw was the emergence of the Agency of Aging going in there. Over 100 jobs providing services to the elderly in the region. Plus the new DMV kiosk center. That has been a great asset to the citizens of North Haven from a convenience standpoint. Both of these companies or industries are doing very well. And by, I would say, the fall, this will be fully populated with 100% occupancy. And you see on the south side of the building that because these old plazas are so deep in terms of footage, that there's going to be another fitness center going into the back there, and this will be fully up and running. So thank you, Joe Maruzzi. Thank you, Larry Lazaroff, for your help as one of the cornerstone businesses there. We're moving forward in a very positive direction with that. Very shortly, you'll see the opening of the Old Town Fair, or the Old Town Fair moving from the south side of the Stop and Shop Plaza into this particular area. Rustic Oak was a great restaurant. Their business was booming there, ladies and gentlemen. However, the family got tired. And in our search to bring in a new restaurant, the parking was a little bit problematic, and we ended up settling in on meeting with the Town Fair owner, Neil Mellon, who wanted to buy this property, and you'll see that opening up very shortly. I'm very pleased to announce that 344 Washington Avenue, where the old Leon's was, Adriana's Restaurant is going to be moving in there. And that'll be a great addition to North Haven. To give you sort of a glimpse behind the scenes as to what happens on economic development, I want to give you a visual on this as I pull over to the side on this bus ride. Lou Proto, myself, Alex Vigliotti, who owns the plaza, went down to Adriana's one day and met with the owner, Valentino, and his attorney. And I would say within a half hour, that deal was signed and done, and renovation now is happening on the inside there, a totally renovated new restaurant here in North Haven. You know, one of the ripple effects of bringing in Gengris Volvo a couple of years ago, which is doing very well right now, has been the emergence of other high-end car dealers that would like to come in. The Land Rover is a good example of that. Now, these industries, although some may say, well, you know, why are we bringing in a car dealership? Well, what happens with these industries, if you look at the job creation, about an average of $90,000 a year in terms of salaries. What we once knew as maintenance people, the people that worked on the cars, they are now technology jobs. Gateway College is a good example here in North Haven that has an automotive program. Young students who don't want to go to a 4-year college go to a 2-year plan or 2.5-year plan to come out of an automotive school, and they're being hired at $90,000, $95,000, $100,000 a year. Great job creation and great businesses that help assimilate into the fabric of our overall business community. The flats on 420 Washington Avenue, I wanted to show you this to explain that what we're seeing with Quinnipiac University and what we may see with the emergence of Amazon is the need for housing that may not be a single-family home for an employee or a new employee, let's say at Amazon. So we're going to be working here to continue to ensure that this is an opportunity for those students or those young professionals who need housing. And on the other side, well, we took a little U-turn here, but across the street from this, a little bit farther south, you'll see, and I'll probably get to it soon, the old building across from the Breakfast Nook will be torn down and it'll be rehabilitated with 140 apartments with a mixed-use retail on the bottom floor. This is something I'm working very closely with Chris Albrook, and his wife Tammy's here. Lynn Weed is here also, the realtor. This is a big initiative for us. Dodge Avenue, there's about 72 acres on the northern side of that park. And we are working and holding the fact that we want Old Dominion there, a wonderful trucking company, and right now we're working towards that. 2 hurdles we're working on, one at the state level with DEEP, and one that I'm working out internally, and we hope to be able to have some good news on that soon. And of course, you heard from Richard. We've introduced you to Rachel, wonderful partners. We are so excited, ladies and gentlemen, about this project. I happened to take a tour there a couple of weeks ago, and it's outstanding. Spectacular to see it on the inside. These are some side views, as you see. Again, a total yield of almost 1.2 million square feet. These are an example. Now, Richard and Rachel and I were talking last night about plazas being redeveloped and renovated in anticipation of Amazon. This is a good example right here of a plaza. This is another example of a plaza that was completely dilapidated. I give Carl DeVie a lot of credit, whom we worked with. He owns the Breakfast Nook Plaza where Grand Pizza is. He invested. He knew what was coming in North Haven. Amazon was a large part of this initiative, and we're pleased that Hello Gorgeous Salon is the first tenant, and this will be fully populated by the end of the year. Opportunities, there are many. Here's one, 333 State Street. But I'm pleased to announce on this, and I can say it because I'm a board member of the Greater New Haven Transit District, I'm pleased to announce that you're going to see this building torn down late summer, perhaps early fall, and as we move forward with bringing in the Greater New Haven Transit District, there'll be over 100 jobs here and shuttle services for the elderly and the disabled. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us. We're still working closely with the DOT to bring the North Haven train station at the end of Stiles Avenue. That is still moving forward. As far as Cinemark, as we travel now down towards Universal Drive, we're pleased to announce that very soon this summer, ground will break on a hotel there, an upper scale hotel that we think is critically important. Years ago, I may have mentioned this before, some of the major companies in North Haven said to me, Mike, we really would like to see a higher-end hotel in North Haven, so when we have our corporate executives come in, we can put them in that hotel. And this will be happening. This is another project Lou Proto and I are working on, and we see after that 2 other businesses coming in, which I'm not in a position to announce, but you're going to see these 3 pads developed. This is another project, and you're going to hear something from us very soon. The Deloro Plaza, just south of the D'Angelo's, across the street from the new town fair. This is a project that is going to come forward soon. I'm not in a position again to announce what may come in because there's several options right now. And once again, Lou, thanks for your help on this, and hopefully when we see each other later today, we can probably finalize this. Mike Schaefer, who owns this building here, we have worked out the previous predicaments that we've had on the parking here. And I see this to be emerging sometime, hopefully in the fall, with this being torn down and 1 or 2 new businesses coming in there. For years, that's been vacant. Decades and decades, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of it was the parking predicament. This is going to happen. 425 Washington Avenue, this is in the front part of where Amazon will be. We're working with the property owners, the Rabina Corporation, and this is coming up probably in late summer, early fall with an initiative moving forward. So hopefully when we meet in the fall, I can have another update on this. This is what I was referring to earlier. This will be completely torn down. This will be 140 apartments with a mixed-use retail on the bottom. This, I think, is going to fit very nicely in conjunction with the emergence of Amazon here in town. 497 Washington Avenue remains a challenge. The person who bought this wants to put a business there, but there's some issues on the acreage. So this remains a challenge that is unworked out at this point. 585 Washington Avenue, another challenge. Don't have anything to report here, other than the fact the building has been sold, and we're working with the owner to see what we can do there. Although I put those under opportunities, they really are challenges. Additionally, this remains a challenge at 238 Quinnipiac Avenue. It's a difficult corner, and we're trying to figure out a solution there. But this is something that has been on my radar screen now for the past year and a half. That is something we're going to have to get done. This at the Four Corners down near Medtronics. The good news here is that this building's been sold. We thought perhaps a Dunkin' Donuts in the Monowee section filling this building would be appropriate, but the state DOT, rightfully so, requires a 14-car queue backup from the order panel on a drive-through, and the space here is a little bit too tight. So we're still trying to figure out a solution there. This remains a challenge here, 50,000 square feet, an example of a national retailer going Chapter 11 and bankrupt. I envision this to be a split building with two 25,000 square foot businesses coming in. One I'm currently working on with Richard Lee that I hope to have an update on this in our next meeting. We thought we had a solution here at Toys R Us, another national company that went bankrupt. This is something on my radar screen. This will happen sooner or later. And Otis Spunkmeyer, that is a little bit west of the Acura or the Nissan Jeep car dealership there. Otis Spunkmeyer, we have an interested party that wants to buy it. There's some VOC contaminants that have to be reconciled through brownfields. So this is another opportunity that currently is a challenge. Another challenge is the old produce store. We're trying to find a solution to that. So during these meetings, ladies and gentlemen, I share with you the successes, I share with you the opportunities, and I share with you the relentless and implacable commitment I have to develop the challenges. And we will develop those challenges. So the future outlook of North Haven is an outlook that there will be continued new businesses coming to North Haven. There has been significant top-line revenue growth, and there will continue to be. And there will continue to be job creation. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that on the many roles I play throughout the region and even to a certain extent at the state level, whether it be as chairman of the State Rail Advisory Commission with the train stations, or whether it be as chairman working with REX, chairman of the CEDS, which is an acronym for the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for the region, or whether it be North Haven's first selectman in what we do here. North Haven will continue to be a lightning bolt that will be the incendiary spark for continued growth here, not only in town, but also throughout the region. I can tell you firsthand from the regional activities I'm involved with, this region is really going to start picking up very nicely. I'm very excited, and North Haven will continue to be a driving factor. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Richard and Mike, thank you very much. Now, this would be an opportunity for questions. Please, we don't have a roving mic, so just shout it out, and Mike and Rich will be happy to answer any questions you may have. And please don't escape. There's a couple more announcements that I'd like to make before we close the program. So, questions? Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you, Richard, for an excellent presentation. You gave us some insights into what Amazon does. One thing I was wondering about is, can you share with us some insights as to what the workforce demographic will actually look like in terms of types of positions?
Yes, the question is, if you repeat the question.
So the question was, can I share some insights on the workforce demographics, the type of jobs that are available? So we have basic entry-level job is a warehouse associate, what we call a tier 1. And that is what I mentioned previously, the Amazon minimum wage of $15 an hour. That individual will be responsible for doing things such as stowing, picking, packing, shipping, right? And what we do is we have an extensive training program to onboard those individuals to get them acclimated to what our process fully entails. There are also some other opportunities, like advanced opportunities like problem solving or different indirect functions or things along those lines. The next level above that is what we call a tier 3 associate, which is a process assistant. So that is almost the first layer. It's almost an assistant to the manager, so to speak, and they're responsible for some deliverables within that particular department. So that is a promotion to that position. That's it from an hourly associate perspective. The salary jobs come across the board from management on the operations side, my team, various levels there, area managers, operations managers, senior operations manager. I have an assistant general manager, then it's myself as a director of operations. And then we have the support groups, as I mentioned. We have procurement on site, IT, HR, safety, so a variety of different roles that we'll have. And each one of those support functions also has hourly components to it. So for example, HR will have hourly employees, IT will have hourly employees, safety has hourly employees as well, so it kind of runs the spectrum there.
Can you give us a sense of what the percentage will be of full-time versus part-time positions?
At this point, overwhelming majority of full-time. Don't have a number. I would say over 85% will be full-time at this particular point in time. We're still working out the details. It depends on the demand profile of this particular area, which we don't have a good sense for right now. Until we get closer to opening the building, we'll have a better indication of what that'll look like. But the overwhelming majority, 85 to 90%, will likely be full-time.
We can comment on that too. Thanks.
In the back, Sally?
One comment. Oh, yeah.
24 hours, 7 days a week?
Hold on a second.
If I can just finish up the answer to Lou's question here, I want to mention, Lou, that in July in North Haven, Richard referenced it earlier, that we're going to be hosting a job fair here in North Haven that will feature hundreds and hundreds of people applying for these jobs at Amazon. But through Bill Villano and Christine Reardon, we're also going to be doing a regional workshop session in different cities and towns to help fulfill the demand. And that will also help, as you'll see over time, answer your question. Thank you.
In the back, Sally?
Yeah, Mr. Dice, what medical facilities will there be on site at the fulfillment center for employee injuries or trauma events or work-related injuries?
Yep.
And what level of care will be available?
Every Amazon facility has what's called AmCare, and that's an on-site service, full-service operation, fully built out. We have on-site medical reps. A lot of the individuals that we have there fully staffed day and night are former EMT employees with that experience. So we have that already built out. 24/7 service across the board. What we also have incrementally is physical therapists, folks with physical therapist background on site, and they're called injury prevention specialists. So we go around and do proactive means as well to ensure that our associates are as safe as possible performing a task that they're required to on the job. The question back here earlier was about whether or not the building is all right, there you go.
Lynn?
Richard, welcome to North Haven.
Thank you.
Do you, as Amazon, envision any businesses that you might need to help Amazon, like box companies or transportation? Is there anything you envision coming down in the future that we can supply Amazon with?
Yes. In all seriousness, we have, there will be a ton of opportunities across the board. I shared this last night. What we have, initially when we launch a building, as you can imagine, of this magnitude, there's a lot that goes into it. So from a sourcing standpoint, a lot that takes place up front is dealt through our corporate office, and we have a corporate sourcing strategy just so that we can focus on getting the building up and running and establish ourselves in the community and being successful. Then it gets turned over ultimately to the local sourcing team, and we go through bidding processes and things along those nature. Some things are still managed across the board at a higher level, category level, for obvious synergy purposes to ensure that we get the best pricing, but certain things are managed locally as well out of the building. So yes, there'll be a variety of those things from an operational support standpoint, but incremental to that, I was mentioning last night, there's a ton of opportunity for local businesses in terms of what we offer, whether it's catering services or a variety of different things that we could actually promote, and we'll work together with the Chamber of Commerce and to ensure that we fully understand what's available here in this area, and then we will marry that with what our general needs are, and we'll blend within the community that way.
What's the total employee population going to be?
Right now, the question is, what's the total employee population going to be? So right now, at a minimum, we'll be hiring 1,800. We anticipate 1,800 hourly, full-time hourly jobs in the building. Incremental to that, we're planning at about just under 100 managers, salaried managers to the building as well. So here's the thing that I did not mention earlier that's probably worth noting. This building, talk about customers, customer focus, customer obsession. One of the objectives when we go to aim towards pleasing our customers is where we designate our location. So strategic location or positioning of our building and our buildings, and this building is in a very strategic location for obvious reasons, right? So the Northeast is obviously a high demand, heavy density in terms of customer orders area, so it accounts for a very large percentage of overall domestic Amazon sales. So this is a strategic building located in a very strategic location or region within the country, and it has the latest and greatest technology. So this version of the Amazon building is far above and beyond what any other building has at this particular point, and we anticipate that we'll get a tremendous amount of volume. So that has the potential for upside. So we say it at a minimum 1,800, but that could grow. We're strategically located very close to New York City, very straight direct line there. We're also very close to the Boston area, so we anticipate with the design of this building that we'll be able to support a larger, broader mass. One thing that I also didn't mention, this particular fulfillment center is called an Amazon Robotics Fulfillment Center or sortable center. And a sortable means we ship things that are generally 18 inches or less from that building. So it's designed to be a high volume building, right? So smaller items, higher volumes. We don't ship things like TVs out of that building or microwaves or things along those lines. So 18 inches or less. So it's built for volume. Just to give you guys a little example here, the building is designed to, during the height of peak, which is defined as around Black Friday to Christmas Eve, this building is designed to have the capacity to ship over 1 million units per day out of the building. So to answer your question, the upside is there in terms of the demand. We're building it. We're fully anticipating that it will come, it being the orders, and we'll fully prepare to expand our population if need be, if the demand warrants that. Yes, sir.
I've noticed as an Amazon Prime customer that things that used to be received within 2 days are now being received many times in 1 day. Is that because of the expansion of your network, and what will this new facility impact local deliveries?
That doesn't sound like a complaint, so I'm thinking that's a good thing. No, I'm kidding. Absolutely. So at the end of the day, we're not bound by 2-day shipping, right? So 2 day or less. If we can get it to you sooner, fantastic. Who would not want it sooner? As I mentioned previously in my presentation, our objective, based on innovation, based on technology, based on things that we've learned over time, is to figure out how to satisfy you. And we don't anticipate any complaints from folks who receive their packages in 1 day. I just bought 11 books for my senior leadership team, ordered it on Saturday, it showed up on Sunday. Right? I was very happy about it. I was able to give it to them on Monday. I was a pleased customer. So nonetheless, we do a lot of things for efficiency, for speed, and this is exactly what we spoke about earlier in terms of our customer obsession, to figure out before you ask for it, we would like to provide it for you, to ensure that you're satisfied, and that's the new norm. And to the extent that we can continue to provide that service level, that's our objective, to delight you as customers.
Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you, Mike. Just noticed we've gone a little bit over time. A couple of announcements before you leave. Please, on May 3rd, it's the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce annual meeting. If you haven't signed up, please do. And I haven't forgotten, June 12th is the Quinnipiac Chamber annual meeting. The featured speaker is Peter Salovey from Yale University, the Yale University president at the Greater New Haven Chamber, and Chris Berman from ESPN Sports at the Quinnipiac Chamber. I want to thank Fantasia for the wonderful job they've done and they continue to do. Also encourage you, because this is how we get ideas for future breakfast, and we supplied pens this time. So please fill out your surveys. Everyone got a pen and a survey, so please fill out the surveys. And Richard, I think you'll like this last comment. Before you're free to go and enjoy this beautiful weather, take out your phones and order something from Amazon. Oh yes, wait, one more thing. one more thing, thank you, Valerie. On the presentations, we will put them both on the North Haven Economic Development Commission website, northavenedc.com, and we'll get the video that was supposed to be shown on the website as well. All right? Enjoy the day.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.